All right, Paul, this morning we wanted to have a conversation about a really sensitive but really important issue that that a lot of women face. This is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, and joining me now is Abbe. She's the founder of InCircle Fertility. You're the host of the Fertility Chick podcast, which has been so helpful to me and to so many women. And you're here just to talk to us about why it's so important to raise awareness about pregnancy loss. You have some really eye-opening numbers that I think a lot of people aren't aware of. When I had my first miscarriage, I thought, why didn't anyone tell me? I didn't know this was so common.
Well, because we never talk about it, right? And that's the thing about Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. I always say, if you've been through a pregnancy loss, you and I both have, it's not for us, it's for everyone else, so that they can learn how to sensitively and with an education talk to us about it. So yeah, the current statistics are 1 in 4 pregnancies, and that's known pregnancies, ends in miscarriage. The World Health Organization came out with a staggering new statistic this year alone. 1 in 6 struggle with infertility. When I started my infertility journey about 10 years ago, it was only 1 in 8. So the numbers are actually getting worse instead of better. And 1 in 36 can go through 2 losses or more.
I was just talking to some friends about this, that I struggled with secondary infertility after my son was born. And the thinking for a lot of people is, okay, well then I'll just do IVF and then I'll get pregnant. It'll be as easy as that. And it is not that easy. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of couples invest time, money, emotions in IVF, but more than 60% of rounds of IVF fail. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
And this is what's so hard about IVF. You put so much into it. Your emotional bandwidth is low, your physical, your financial, and there's still no guarantees. So, you know, a lot of times people after you've had a loss will say, oh, just go to IVF, like it's the easiest next step. It's not that easy. It's a huge decision, a huge commitment, and you have to know, like you said, over 60% of first rounds of IVF don't work. When I went through my first round of IVF, I was like, oh, this is gonna be it. I'm gonna have my baby now. Oh no, it was many, many, many more. We don't think about that piece of it. So it's not a just do anything, just do IVF is not a consolation prize once you've had a horrible loss. It doesn't guarantee anything.
Exactly. And sometimes it can be really difficult to know what to say to someone who is struggling with infertility, who is struggling with a recent pregnancy loss. There are a lot of things you shouldn't say, and that people just, they mean well, but they say things that add to the hurt. What are some of those things?
Right. That's exactly right. So I feel strongly honesty is always the best policy. So you never want to say nothing, because that's not being honest, right? If your friend is struggling, you're probably thinking, ooh, I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to make her think about it. Trust me, she's already thinking about it. So when you don't say anything, it hurts her even more. And if you don't know what to say, always start with the truth. I don't know what to say, but I want you to know I'm here with you. I don't know what to say, but I want to hold your hand through this. You also never want to start a sentence with at least. So at least you might know you can get pregnant. At least you can try again. At least it was early in the pregnancy. None of that will make the person suffering feel comforted or any better at all.
Yeah, one that I heard a lot was, well, at least you have your son. So you have 1 kid at least. And that doesn't help.
It doesn't help, and it's a really great point that I want to say. Everyone is entitled to dream of the family that they want to have. Having 1 doesn't mean that all of a sudden you have to stop whatever you thought your plans were going to be. You deserve to have the family that you want to have.
And I think that's a great message. If you don't know what to say, you can say that.
Exactly.
Yeah, have that conversation. Something else that comes up a lot is people who are struggling with some of these things go on social media and they see these pregnancy announcements. And while you're happy for your friend and you want the best for them, it can really be hurtful to a lot of people just because it highlights what you're struggling with. What do you say to people about just how to handle seeing those kinds of things? And then to people like me, I came to you for advice. I am finally pregnant after many pregnancy losses and struggles with infertility, and I want to be sensitive when I finally do post it on social media, which I haven't yet because it's a sensitive thing. What's your advice to people on how to do it in a tactful way?
Well, already when you're asking what to say, you already are way ahead of the game. You personally, but also other people who come to me and say, what should I say? And I'm going to give the same advice, which is honestly, honesty is always the best policy. I can't can't force somebody to share their story, their pain, their heartache, but if you did go through it, if you can say that as part of your announcement, you're doing such a service to the women who are suffering in silence or who feel scared to say anything. And you're acknowledging, like sometimes I'll see an announcement of someone that I know really struggled and they don't bring it up at all. And it's just so unfair to the people who are really in pain and going through to think that, boom, they just got pregnant like that, when that's not the real story. So again, I say always go. Honesty is the best policy. This really is a sensitive announcement for me because I know how many people are struggling, but we did finally get a miracle and we're gonna have give birth to our second baby. You're acknowledging that for some people it might hurt, but you still want to share the joy and the happiness.
And if it's hard for you to see those announcements, that's okay. You are
Absolutely.
entitled to your feelings, whatever they are.
Absolutely. My children are about to be 5, and I've been through this many, many years, and I'm still triggered by pregnancy announcements. So.
All right, Abbe Feeder, you are just wonderful. Thank you so much for all this great information and advice. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.